Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's segment video, doing European outlook for today's segment video. So as always on a Thursday, we're having a detailed look at the weather for the weekend for the UK and for the rest of Europe as well. I should get on with that for you in a moment. Just to say that first video today was 6 AM upload, and if that wasn't enough, got 10 to 14 day coming later on today as well. So please like, share and subscribe on videos, and thank you so very much everybody for doing that. Right, let's have a look then. So we're going to begin with the situation across Europe today, and it's quite a mild scene in many areas. Got an area of high pressure regime from the Azores in towards France, Spain and Portugal. Low pressure to the north of that across the northern and western parts of Europe, and then we go further eastwards, and that's where we run into some colder conditions. These how the upper air temperatures are looking. So you can see the far east of Europe, like east of Ukraine down towards the Black Sea. That's where we've got some bitterly cold air lurking, and into southwestern parts of Russia as well. So that does extend down towards Turkey. It's quite cold across northern parts of Scandinavia, but not anywhere near as cold as you expect. And then generally just quite mild, really, with these west-southwesterly winds across the rest of Europe. Precipitation-wise today, looks relatively dry in many areas, with that big area of high pressure. We have got some showery rain through parts of the UK and Ireland, some rain, sleet and snow in towards Norway, just pushing eastwards to parts of Sweden as well. Some rain, sleet and snow in towards Finland. But otherwise, most places are actually dry under that area of high pressure. And temperature-wise, it looks quite mild, really, in many areas. It is cold in the far north and northeast of Europe, as you expect at this time of year, but probably not as cold as you would expect at this time of the year. And then the rest of Europe looking generally mild, especially so in the west. Proper spring-like conditions into France, Spain and Portugal, and, you know, really mild into Ireland, the UK, the Low Countries, parts of Germany as well. It does turn a bit colder further eastwards, and again, especially so around the northern shores of the Black Sea, and then going up in towards eastern parts of Ukraine and whatnot. Right, on into tomorrow, Friday. High pressure again is dominating across much of western, southwestern Europe. Area of low pressure digging in across Scandinavia, bringing something a little bit colder in from the north up there. The upper air temperatures show colder air just beginning to creep back in towards Norway, and trying to get into northern parts of Scotland as well, to be honest. Southern Scandinavia, like Denmark, southern Sweden, looking generally quite mild through there. A little bit on the cold side, perhaps around the Baltic Sea states, but most sort of central, southern, western parts of Europe generally looking very mild with those upper air temperatures again tomorrow. There will be outbreaks of rain across northern parts of Germany and Poland, extending into the Baltic Sea, and then going northwards in towards southern parts of Sweden. And on the northern edge of that, as it bumps into the cold air, some of that rain could turn to snow, but further south was mostly rain, I think. Main dry to the west of that, so much of western Germany, Low Countries, UK, Ireland, France, Spain, Portugal looking reasonably dry. Most parts of the bed looking pretty dry as well. Maybe some snow flurries in the extreme eastern border with Russia. Temperature-wise, we look like this tomorrow, so bitterly cold air sitting in the west of Europe. That's where it's staying for now. Scandinavia, again, looking colder, actually, across central northern parts of Scandinavia, particularly through Norway. That cold air beginning to creep back into the central northern parts of Sweden as well, perhaps. Going further southwards and westwards, just generally a mild scene. Again, particularly so through these western parts of Europe, southern France, for example, looking really mild, as does Spain and Portugal. Now we move on into Saturday. Again, we've got low pressure sitting across northern parts of Europe around the Baltic Sea, and cold air digging in on the western side of that low into parts of Norway and also into Sweden as well. Further southwards, we're going to find more low pressure bringing wet weather back into northern parts of Scotland as well. And then going further south, that high pressure once more is dominating in many areas. We look like this with the upper air temperature. So becoming colder across northern Europe gradually. We're seeing those upper air temperatures lowering. My 10 iceberg coming back into central northern parts of Sweden, for example. So generally quite a cold scene in the far northern Europe with that area of low pressure. Further southwards, though, upper air temperatures are looking mild or very mild. They could could be some snow up over parts of Scandinavia, progressing eastwards, perhaps in towards Finland, and then on into Baltic Sea states of Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania. Rain further south of that, I think, through parts of Germany and into Poland as well. Also back into Scotland, and then to the south of that, and the area of high pressure, it remains generally on the mild side. Temperatures are cold in the far north and northeast Europe, otherwise very mild, particularly so in western and southern parts of Europe. Sunday finds high pressure again, reaching back up from the southwest, although the north of Europe will be colder with that trough of low pressure. Upper air temperatures show cold air expanding out across the north of Europe on Sunday, so all the way from Scandinavia right over to the Baltic Sea states, looking much colder by Sunday, and there will be snow with that area of low pressure up there as well. So that cold air begins to dig down as far south as Denmark and into northern parts of Germany and Poland, actually, and sort of easing into the North Sea as well. A little bit cooler for Ireland, the UK and France, but still relatively mild, and then much of southern and southeastern Europe looking very mild with those upper air temperatures on Sunday too. Snow across northern and northeastern parts of Europe, a rain, sleet and snow mix marking the divide through Germany, Poland, and towards the Ukraine. That area of precipitation marks the divide between the mild temperatures to the south and west and the colder temperatures to the north and the east. More wet weather coming back in across the UK and Ireland, especially so in the northern half of the country. And temperature-wise, it's very cold now across much of northern and northeastern Europe. Cooler across western Europe, actually, until we come down to some parts of France, and then we run back into those very mild temperatures, and maybe we'll extend through the Mediterranean as well. Now, Monday will find high pressure again in towards France, Spain, Portugal from the Azores to the northern side of that. We keep those mild westerly winds going, but cold air will still be sitting across northern and northeastern Europe. So the upper air temperatures look like that. Generally cold for much of Scandinavia, northeastern Europe. That cold air beginning to dig down the eastern side of Europe as well on Monday. Meanwhile, further west, it remains mild or very mild really through many parts of western Europe, particularly mild and actually quite warm through France, Spain, and Portugal. It's sailing up in towards southern parts of France, Spain, and Portugal, looking very mild there with both upper air temperatures. Precipitation-wise, again, lots of dry weather with that area of high pressure in many southern, west and southwest parts of Europe. What precipitation there is mostly in the north, and some of it will be snow, of course, with both cold temperatures across Scandinavia and into the Baltic Sea states and down southwards into Poland as well. The temperatures continue to look very cold. In fact, becoming colder across the northern parts of Scandinavia and far northeast of Europe, looking bitterly cold by Monday. Meanwhile, further south and west, those temperatures remain mild and spring-like. Tuesday starts to see the high pressure pulling out into the Atlantic a little bit as the wind turns into more of a northwesterly into western parts of Europe, opening cooler air in off the Atlantic, but the coldest temperatures will still be sitting up across the far north and northeast of Europe. So upper air temperature looking very cold there through northern Scandinavia down into northeastern parts of Europe too. Meanwhile, very mild really through much of Europe, Poland, Germany, for example, looking really mild, and southwards into the many areas there looking very mild or even quite warm. Just trying to bring some cooler air into the UK and Ireland with that northwesterly wind, perhaps by Tuesday. Precipitation-wise, so it can be some snow across the northern parts of Europe where it's cold, of course. Although some of that could turn back towards rain as cold air begins to retreat away a little bit across parts of Denmark and southern Sweden and southern Norway. But going further northwards, that precipitation will turn readily to snow. Some wet weather in towards the UK and Ireland as well. A band of rain pushing southwards, followed by some wintry showers into the far north. Some showers getting going through Spain and Portugal, which might be thundering. Otherwise, many areas are looking dry on Tuesday. And temperature-wise, again, it's mild seen through much of southern and western Europe and colder in the far north and northeast of Europe once more. Now, Wednesday, we'll find the high pressure begin to ridge northwards in the Atlantic and low pressure starting to dig in towards the North Sea. Perhaps that could turn wind into the north across western parts of Europe. Remember, the further out we're going, the more unreliable it's getting. But it does look as though it's turning colder by the middle of next week across much of northern and western Europe, with the mildest temperatures, upper air temperatures now, across southern and also southeastern parts of Europe, so through Spain, Portugal into the Med, over the Adriatic to the Balkans, looking very mild through there, been a very mild winter, of course, there. And into the eastern part of the Med up towards the Black Sea, looking really mild through those regions. Further north and west, looks like it's turning colder on Wednesday. There'll be a band of rain pushing southwards through France, the Low Countries, Belgium, Holland, Netherlands, Germany, and into Poland. That could turn to snow in the northeast, of course. Behind that, that's where the colder air is, so showers turning readily to snow across Scandinavia, and wintry showers in towards the UK and Ireland by Wednesday. Some heavy showers and thunderstorms back through Spain and Portugal. Meanwhile, much of the southern eastern part of Europe looking mostly dry. And temperature-wise, yes, it's turning colder in the west part of Europe, UK, Ireland, the Low Countries, in towards Germany, beginning to turn colder through there. But the coldest temperatures by far will still be across the far north of Europe with Scandinavia and into Finland, in towards the northeast Europe. That's where the coldest temperatures will be on Wednesday. Meanwhile, much of southern Europe, Mediterranean, much of the Balkans, southeast Europe looking really, really mild. Then we go on into Thursday. That low pressure will transfer eastwards in towards southern parts of Scandinavia. High pressure reaching through the Atlantic. That pulls the wind into the north across the west of Europe. And pressure beginning to fall perhaps across more southern parts of Europe as well by the second half next week. So the mildest upper air temperatures now are being squeezed further southwards and eastwards, actually, as much of Europe is turning cold by the time we get into Thursday. So heavy showers and thunderstorms breaking out through France and perhaps even into the central bowl of the Med. More wet weather beginning to push southwards through the Balkans as well. Further northwards of that, most of the precipitation is likely to be falling as sleet and snow, I think, from the UK and Ireland right way over towards the Baltic Sea. There will be some wet weather pushing through France. Again, that will probably be a mix of rain in the south, snow further northwards and eastward. But temperatures looking quite cold by the time you get through Thursday. Again, the coldest temperatures will be in the far north of Europe, but many areas are turning colder by Thursday. Just the far south and southeast of Europe hanging on to those mild temperatures. So this really is a week of change. Heading on into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just bringing up day 10. So high pressure sort of dominating the weather to the northwest. That will keep things pretty cold to the south and southeast of that area of high pressure, perhaps northern parts of Scandinavia, but it's picking up more of a westerly, starting to turn quite mild. Only that area of high pressure will be mostly dry, and there could be overnight frost, fog, and whatnot. Right, so there we go. Quite an interesting week to come. Starting off really mild away far north of Europe, and gradually turning colder as next week progresses. We'll be back later on, 10 to 14 day. That will include all of the regular features. Come back for that then for this week's European Outlook, though. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.